Hello again. So we are going to dive into Zoho Forms to create a contact form during this session. So this is going to be a very important piece because a contact form is going to be used in a lot of different ways. So for example, it could go on your website to collect lead data if someone needs to contact you or is requesting more information about your products or services. It will also be used maybe at a trade show, so you can collect personal data at the trade show from the people that are visiting your booths. You could use these forms as a landing page on your advertisement. So there's lots of different ways that we're going to be using these forms. So for this example, we will create a contact us form together. So what we're going to do is start inside of Zoho Forms. So we're going to click on new form and we will give it a name. So we'll create that. And then we're going to have a blank form. So we're going to start building it with the components on the left-hand side. So there are lots of components over here that we can use, and it's very, very useful for lots of different scenarios. We're just going to start building the form with the information that we need for this specific scenario. So for example, name, probably will want the phone number, the email, and then you can put maybe you want to put a multi-line in case someone wants to leave some additional notes. And you'll see with the name, the phone number, and the email, they're automatically titled because it's the actual name field. For multi-line, it is called multi-line, so we're going to need to change that. So if you need to change anything with these fields, you're going to hover over that box, and then you'll see the settings right here on the right, and you'll just click that. We also can duplicate this, and we can also delete this from this side panel. So if we click on the gear icon, the field label is first. So we can just type something in like additional information. And then there are lots of additional things we can put here. So instructions, for example, we can please use this field for any. So I'll show you what the instructions look like, and then we can also make it mandatory. So if you want to make it mandatory, that means that the form cannot be submitted unless you check this box. We can also hide the field or disable the field if we need to. You can also encrypt the field. So for more sensitive things, so for example, we have a payment field that you can utilize. And then we'll save that. And once we do that, you'll see the instructions are down here in the gray. So that's what that looks like if you add instructions. And then we have lots of other fields. So we have numbers, decimals, formula, currency. You can add drop downs, radio buttons. So these are very popular for if you're creating maybe a questionnaire or an intake form, something like that. You'll be using these type of buttons. And then we have the date and time, things like that. You can have file or image uploads, ratings. You can have embedded audio or video for instructions, terms and conditions, signatures, so they can actually sign off on the form. Lots of different things that you can use here that are very, very useful. For this situation, we're just going to use a pretty basic form though. So that's all we need is a generic form for, we'll say, like a website, like if you want to go to the contact us section and fill out that and then have it pull into the CRM. And I will show you in another lesson how to pull it into the CRM. So that way you can integrate this form with your CRM and those leads will automatically be populated there once the form is submitted. So for right now, let's stick with the form and the website. So I have the form created. The next thing I need to do is click share here. So sharing, we have lots of different options here. So you can have the permalink and you can shorten the URL if you want to. So this would be if you just want to send the link out in an email, if you want to post it somewhere, if you want someone actually clicking on the link and then going to the form, that's what you're going to use this for. You have a QR code. So this is great for forms. If you want to put it on like a sign, you could put it on a sign outside. Let's say you put it in the yard, you have a construction worker and they have the sign out there, and you want the QR code to go to a form so they can request information about the company. Our companies also use these QR codes for trade shows. So for example, we had a really big banner and we had a drawing. So you would fill out your information on the form, and then based on that, you get entered into the drawing to win free services and products. So that's something fun that we use the QR code for. And then you can track referrals, pre-fill form fields. You can share with specific users or groups. So this would be within your Zoho organization. Just so you know, if you're creating a form on your account, your colleague is not going to be able to access that form unless you share that form with them. So the forms are only on your account unless you're sharing them. What we're going to be doing right now, though, is we're going to be embedding the form. We also have track entries. Lior went over this in a different lesson, though, so you can refer back to that one for the UTM tracking and Google Tag Manager. So he'll go into detail about that. For embedding, this is how you're going to get the form onto your website. So there are lots of different options here that your developer could use. The HTML, for example, this is going to be specifically for a developer to use. So what you would do is download the HTML CSS code. And just so you know, if you put that into an email, your email is not going to like that. And it's not going to send it. So if you need to communicate this code to your developer, the best thing you can do is to drop it in your work drive, create an external link folder, and then share that external link with them, and they'll be able to collect that data there. So if we go to Zoho Sites, you'll see that we have a site already built. So we'll click on that. We're going to see our dashboard. We're going to click on Pages on the left, and on the home, what we're going to do is click on Edit Content. So once we click on Edit Content, it is going to bring us to the next page, which will be the actual website where we can edit the components. So as you can see, as I hover, there's a border around things. So you're going to have actual sections. So this big one, that's the actual section. And then you have items in the section. So you can think of the section as a container, and then you have the items inside of the container. So we are going to hover over here. We'll click Add Section. And then you'll have some options here. Number one is the easiest option, and this is only going to work if you're using Zoho Sites. So you're actually going to use Zoho Forms. So you would just drag and drop that, and then it'll show you the different forms that you've already created in Zoho Forms, and you'll choose whichever one that you would want to add to the website. Now, option number two, we're going to do the same thing, Add Section, and then we can go to Elements. And if we scroll down, we'll have Embed iframe. So here we're going to go back to Zoho Forms. We'll click on iframe, and then we'll copy this code, and then we'll paste it here. And so if we click OK, once we do that, we'll see our form. Now, if we're using the Zoho Forms integration, or if we're using the iframe, it's going to look exactly like Zoho Form that you created. So I'll give you an example. If you go to our website here, we have a contact us form that's a Zoho form. So if we go there, it matches the look and feel of our website. So it doesn't look like a Zoho form. The difference is this is the HTML code. So your developer can change that HTML code to match the theme of your website. So that's always the best way to go. But if you don't have a developer, then you're able to use the iframe. So those are really your options. But HTML, it looks really nice. So just remember, if you're doing iframe, you might want to watch my lesson on the different theme options on the forms so that you can make that form look nice before you put it on the website. And so those are the different options for creating your contact form and then putting it on your website. And I will see you in the next lesson.